Good blessed Sunday night, June the 5th, 2022. It's about 8:41 p.m. I greet all human beings all around the world with a universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter whether you like me, anything I say, do, or even how I look. That's your prerogative. You have a right. I don't even have a problem with anybody that want to criticize me, whether you criticize me or give me some positive input. That's your prerogative. Some I may respond back to that's real negative or saying negative things. I may and I may not. But in all, I still greet all of you all with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. What I want to briefly talk about is I want to give honor. This month people celebrate what they call Father's Day. Last month they celebrated what they called Mother's Day. I told y'all before, I believe Mother's Day is 365 days a year, 366 every leap year. The same with Father's Day. I believe it to be 365 days a year, 366 every leap year. That's for those of us as fathers. Just because you donated some sperm, that don't make you a father. It make you a part of the biological makeup of the child if the child being conceived. But a father is someone who love, cherish, and protect and provide for their child, whether or not they're with the mother or not. A father is also, sometimes they call them stepfathers, when they step in when the real father don't do the job. And that can be vice versa, or with the mother too, stepmother. But what I want to really talk about before after I say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers around the world, don't make no difference what your race is. Don't make a difference if you're rich or poor. But what I want to say to the fathers, black fathers, and any other fathers that see the problem that I see in some of these black communities. Not saying that there's not a problem in the white communities, because there's a problem in all communities. But it seems like every time there's a women's right protest, it seems like all the women of all races is getting involved. It seems like when it's a thing about the gay protest, all gays get together and different nationalities. It seems like when the Asians have problems, they make laws to prevent Asians from being discriminated against. It seems like when people that's not of dark color in countries that being attacked, they can come over here by the thousands. At the same time, we are starving over here as citizens ourselves. I ain't got no problem with that. But when people of dark color like the Hades try to get over here, they want to block the borders. They want to block the borders for the Mexicans. But I'm gonna leave that alone right now, because what I want to address is I want blacks to pay attention to this shit. Pay close attention to it, because I'm trying to show y'all something that happens in Chicago. It happens in Charleston, Missouri. It happens in Carbondale, Illinois. It happens other places too. But these three C's I'm focusing on because I grew up in Chicago, Illinois. and there's a fake individual called himself an activist, you see him on a podcast now. I ain't gonna even mention his name, but y'all know who he is. When we was coming up in the Greens, he wasn't, I mean, everybody means something, but he wasn't making no noise in the Greens. You see what I'm saying? But yet he making documentaries with some of these people that don't know who come up in the Greens, who was really making some noise or who was productive in the Greens. But I'm gonna leave that alone. But this individual here is like a lot of these other black fake activists. I call them actors, perpetrators, misusing the black community. They get these government grants. They get some of these black politicians to support them. The same black politicians that be supporting them don't do a damn thing for the black community. Excuse my language if y'all see the word damn being offensive. But this individual done misused so many black people in Cabrini Green. He even pulled one on me. But you know, and then pushed on to Texas. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But I'm gonna leave him alone. But it's a lot of people like him here in Charleston, Missouri too. You see what I'm saying? Individuals come up with these food programs, and some of the people that's not familiar where the food programs came from, they think these individuals that call themselves leaders here in Charleston, Missouri, actually came up with the food stamp program. But they didn't. You see, the government give them grants for the food, so they ain't paying for the food. The government give them money where they paying individuals with positions. They have them sitting behind these trees. They bring it to the black community. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You see what I'm saying? But they don't scatter the jobs out to everybody. What they do is they fill their pockets up. I done seen some of them actually take the food and throw some of it in the garbage. I'm gonna leave that alone, Charleston. You see what I'm saying? Warning come before destruction. You know, check your leaders here in Charleston, Missouri. But let me show you about these black women in Carbondale, Illinois. They sit on the city council in Carbondale, Illinois. They got these programs that they done came up with. Southern Illinois Black Chambers of Congress. They got these programs all these programs that these black women got, they getting this grant money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars from the city of Carbondale, Illinois, who has a mayor that had an assault on his wife. She called 911. He never was arrested. You see what I'm saying? Nothing done. White supremacists at its best. You have a chief of police. You see what I'm saying? Listen to me real good. You have a chief of police and you have black NAACP leaders that's sitting here working hand in hand, help covering up the black on black crimes. Now, look at the month of June 2022. I believe on June the 1st, they had a shooting in Carbondale. On June the 3rd, they had a shooting in Carbondale. Just this morning, about 5 o'clock in the morning, they had another shooting in Carbondale. I believe from my source, a female was shot in her vagina by her boyfriend, and the individual that was with him, he got shot too. Now this was about 2:57 in the morning. Now, it's over 200 people, maybe 300 people over there by the white, I believe it's the white church, not too far from the hospital. They allowed them to gather like that. They had police claim that they was monitoring the crowd. But then shots was fired and 2 people were shot. One woman in the vagina. They said in the vagina, it could be wrong, but one woman shot and a guy was shot. The state, not the state police, but the sheriff department and the Carbondale Police Department, they was on the scene. But now, the black females, they having all these programs This coming week, tomorrow the 13th, they having a program that they marching from the Rock Hill Church, Missionary Baptist Church, where the NAACP of Carbondale is headquartered. If you depend on them at that church, at the Rock Hill Church in Carbondale, Illinois, to be support for the black community or the black violence in the black community, you might as well go to the Ku Klux Klan. You see what I'm saying? Because the Rock Hill Church, along with all of them women programs, every last one of them, they working hand in hand. I want you to take a look at the video of what happened 2:57 in the morning, or maybe 3 o'clock early this morning, Sunday, May the 5th, 2022. You see, this ain't the first time 200 or 300 people was crowded up in the areas on the streets where females fighting each other, brothers beating up each other. You see what I'm saying? But you don't see these females getting all that government grant money. Remember this government grant money. They had about 3 or 4 marches this year for George Floyd. George Floyd wasn't even from Carbondale. May he rest in peace. Breonna Taylor, she wasn't even from Carbondale. But here it is, blacks is getting killed, shot, beating up each other. They ain't have no marches for that. A black man, my 45-year-old black son, Brian Lamont Johns, on Friday, March the 19th, 2021, in Carbondale, Illinois, in the 400 block of Oakland Street, at the Gaslight Apartments on the 3rd floor in the hallway, he was found hung, no shirts on, money balled up in his hand, rigor mortis already set in, drugs in his socks, a spot of blood on the front of his pants, a spot of blood on the back of his pants, a spot of blood on one of his gym shoes. In his left hand had a deep cut all the way down to the tendons. If he alive, if it's all the way down to the tendons, guess what? Blood gonna squirt all over. So it showed that he didn't die where they had him hung at, because blood would have been all over the place. It wouldn't have been just spots of blood. But I'm gonna tell you this here. These NAACP people that's finna march from the Rock Hill Baptist Church, Missionary Baptist Church in Carbondale, Illinois, to the Woodlawn Cemetery, that's where they need to stay and bury themselves, because they are hindrance to the black community. Hey, how y'all doing? Power to the brothers and peoples. Listen, they are hindrance to the black community, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they ain't doing nothing for us. The Ku Klux Klan, they help each other. NAACP and all these black leaders that's getting this government grant money, if the shoe fit, wear it. You see what I'm saying? They ain't worried about what's happening here. I ain't seen damn march about stopping the violence in this area since 2016, when they locked me up for videoing an individual that was one of the NAACP presidents here, for videoing him. You see what I'm saying? Exercising my First and 14th Amendment right. But they locked me up, put an outstanding warrant for me. It didn't even go to the police station or to the prosecuting attorney. It went straight to a judge, and the judge gave him a warrant and had me locked up where I had to bond out. I've been physically assaulted. And the individual that physically assaulted me, he didn't have to bond out. The police thought it was funny. Other people thought it was funny, but God didn't think it was funny. It took a year or so, but God took him off the streets and put him in the Fed, in the Fed custody. But I'm gonna leave you with this here. Those in Carbondale, those in Charleston, Missouri, those in Chicago, stop following behind these individuals that did this government grant money, and the only time they pop up is when it's a case where blacks and got killed by white police, or blacks and got killed where it can be a lawsuit. If Black Lives Matter, like some of these people say, all of these black people that's getting killed, all this violence, you would be coming forward. They talk about me, but they talked about Jesus. I'm an activist. I'm an ambassador of Jesus Christ. And if you don't know what an ambassador is, it's a high-ranking agent. That's what I am. I don't get paid for the government because they can't dictate to what I say. You see what I'm saying? I talk about blacks, whites, or anybody else that's oppressing the people. I'm going to leave y'all with this here. My two babies, Queen and Birdie, next month they'll be 16 and 17. They finna go on a long vacation until August. Those of y'all up north know where they're going. When their birthdays come around, y'all gather. This is the time. If you ain't been around them and haven't gotten to know them yet, you can get to know them because they're gonna be in the Windy City until August the 1st. Y'all help celebrate their birthdays. Show them some love. Y'all invite us to all these other things. Let's see how much you love my two daughters. You see, I ain't one that just celebrates certain family or recognize certain family. I recognize all of my family. But let me see how many of y'all gonna recognize them that ain't been recognizing them for the 16 and 17 years they'll be on earth next month. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Stay focused and safe out there, and peace be still.
Good morning, I'm Danny Valle. Thank you for joining us. We begin with a breaking story overnight. There was a heavy police presence in Carbondale following an early morning shooting. Take a look. This happened around 3 this morning at the parking lot of First United Methodist Church. There were dozens of people and vehicles in the parking lot. One witness told News 3 they heard several gunshots and that at least 2 people were hurt. Police have not released any information at this time. News 3 did see officers at the scene with long guns and at least 8 squad cars and, as you can see, multiple ambulances. We're working to get more information on exactly what happened. Head over to WSILTV.com for the latest on this still developing.
Now, that video you just seen in Carbondale, Illinois, just happened this morning about 2:57 a.m. on Sunday, June the 5th, 2021. Now, it was over 250, maybe 300 people out there, maybe 8 police cars. You see, they said they had long guns. See, they were sitting there monitoring this, all of these people out there, and they had already got the word that it was going to be some violence. You follow what I'm saying? Instead of calling reinforcements, state police and other agencies, they just sat there and monitored like they did about a month ago or a few weeks ago when 2 females was being stomped by Circle K service station. And it was about 200 and something people out there then. You feel what I'm saying? 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, 200 and 300 people gathering together. You know something is subject to happen, but it's black people. The white individual who church they mentioned on that video, he approved for them to move that from one area by somebody else's business by his church. You see what I'm saying? And with all due respect, maybe he had to move by the church. He knew it was going to be some violence just like the police did. And maybe if some of the blacks get killed, he can have the service at his church. But y'all wake up. This what you just seen is happening in just about every state. And you know why it's happening? Because some of the police, not all, I know in Charleston, Missouri, Carbondale, Illinois, and some in Chicago and other places, they don't care about the blacks harming each other. As long as they harm each other, it's all right with them. And then you got these groups getting millions of dollars, man. Millions of dollars. They already set out Black Lives Matter, where they got $90 million from these big major corporations for the George Floyd thing alone. That's what's happening here in Charleston, Missouri with these same black leaders. You see what I'm saying? In Carbondale, Illinois, with these same black leaders, they get in these NAACP positions, they get in these other positions. Only thing they do in the black community, they pass out food. In Carbondale, they finna show the movie on the 16th of June. It's supposed to be celebrating Juneteenth, the 16th of June, King Richard. You see what I'm saying? About Richard Williams, who's the daddy of Venus and Serena Williams. But they not telling y'all the whole story of them. They want you to be just like him, have a bunch of kids from one female, lead him, just walk away and lead him, get another female, get rich, and forget about the females and the kids, You see what I'm saying? And then they give an award to an individual who's a role model to some of y'all, but he can't be no role model for a man letting Jada Pinkett do him the way she doing him. You see what I'm saying? Then he go smack Chris Rock. You follow what I'm saying? So that's showing you something. This what they want you. The white supremacists and the NAACP, Linda Flowers, the president in Carbondale, Illinois, they want you to see this movie and want some of us black people to teach our kids to be like Will Smith or King Richard, as they call him, Richard Williams. Richard Williams may taught Venus and Serena how to play tennis and became rich, but all that money, the Bible say, what profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Did Richard Williams lose his soul? Let me tell you something. I had 4 children, 3 daughters and 1 son. May my son rest in peace. My last 2 daughters by 1 female, my oldest daughter in Chicago by another, my son was by another, and I made sure even if I wasn't with them or their mother, I took care of all of my children. Can't none of my children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren said I ain't never did nothing for them. You see, and I ain't even rich. You see what I'm saying? That's a real man. What King Richard is about, that's what they want you to be about. They want you to be like, Martin Luther King. I love him. But Martin Luther King got tired at some point when they told him to cool down. He said, we done cool down too long. If we cool down any longer, we'll be in a deep freeze. In other words, if we don't stand up against this racism, stand up against these blacks that killed Malcolm, you see what I'm saying? That was plotting against Martin Luther King, then we're going to be in a deep freeze. Let's not be in a deep freeze, y'all. Let's wake up. Let's stand up and be counted for. Let's not try to be like King Richard. You see what I'm saying? King Richard is king to some people, like his other family said he's no king to them. Y'all know the real man is. Peace be still.